If you're new to our channel, we'd love to have you join our little community. Just hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. We promise it will be worth your while.
So, if you want to be a good boyfriend, stop over in a little bit. Make sure you tell her that you want to see her, so she thinks that you need her, and it is not the other way around. I am telling you this because I just do not want my friend to be lonely. Thanks, Lilith. I will do so. I am happy that you are looking out for my Lexi. As the Gord was hanging up the phone, he thought that Lilith was not that bad for a hag. Lilith came out of the women's room, just needing to make a couple of comments, and the results of the night would go as planned. Lilith worked the first comment of how people needed to let go of wanting someone who was not right for them into the conversation. Jason followed Lilith's lead and talked about some fictitious girl he could never have. Hearing Jason was having somewhat of the same issue as herself brought Kara back from her own personal debate and into the conversation. Kara was careful to be vague about her issue. One, she was still working out exactly what it was. Was it more about starting to question her sexuality a little from seeing a man in a prosthetic vagina? Then it could be that she was making too much about nothing and might just be ruining yet another chance she had with James. Another reason she was not straightforward was the Giggle twin knew that there was no way James would want anyone other than who he told about his becoming Sarah for a weekend. The lady who had many dilemmas was relieved, for Jason was just agreeing and being supportive. It was so nice that he did not pry to find more information. Jason was just going to play the slow game tonight. It might take another couple of more times of being her confidants and just end up in bed with her. They would stay in, get drunk, and one thing would lead to another. The best part was the next morning, he would play the remorseful man who hated himself for what happened, that he ruined their friendship by getting too drunk. Kara would then comfort him, and he would lead her to suggest that they should go out. He knew she would not want to be a one-night stand to a man who was against them, and that she would want to keep his friendship. Lilith played Richard good. He bought her fifth date rule. The man who wanted to get into her panties agreed with everything she said. Lilith had fun with it by messing up the punchlines in her jokes and hearing him force himself to laugh at them. Having him say he would love to go to the vagina monologues on their next date this Thursday. Lilith was having so much fun toying with the mouse, she almost forgot to make the other comment she wanted to say. As the check was coming, Lilith was able to work on her next move. We all had a good time. We should do this again next Saturday. Kara said, I don't think so. Jason was not going to let Kara turning down the offer defeat him. I understand you must finally have that date with James next Saturday. I don't. Come on then. We had a good time. You can talk with me more about James. I will be here for you as a friend. Once James comes to his senses, you can turn down a dinner with friends. It is just having dinner and a couple of drinks in a group. It will be harmless. Kara did like how great of a listener Jason was and would need to talk more about the situation. Plus, who better to talk to about Elt than Jason? He had a similar situation about wanting to be with someone, and it might never be. Her and James were not going to finalize details until Sunday, so it might not be. It would also be nice to get out of the apartment instead of just sitting there, worrying about how Sarah was handling being at the dance. Fine. To plant the seed that this could get romantic further down the road, Jason jokingly said, Then it is settled. It's a date. Us four. Dinner at that French bistro. Next Saturday. Lilith knew the goddess was shining down on her when Jason said, It's a date. She would be able to tell James about the second date which Kara was having with a real man. In a very satisfied tone, Lilith said, Yes, it's a date. Lexi was a little shocked when Sarah called the Gord by his name. She knew it was natural for her friend to do so by how it came out of Sarah's mouth, but still strange. James always called Gordon by his nickname. It was like Sarah did not feel like she and Lexi's boyfriend knew each other well enough to do so. The lady who noticed the name choice was right about the reason. Sarah felt like they did not have a personal enough connection for her to use such an informal name. In Sarah's eyes, those two had never met, and then she started to wonder if they would get along. Sarah found it odd that her intuition was telling her no. James and him got along. With James being just a part of her, she started to wonder why not. Lexi started to talk about her relationship with the gourd with Sarah as another woman. Sarah was starting to wonder less when she heard Lexi talk about it being great, but would get better once they were out of college. Sarah never had a relationship with anyone, but she knew from James' relationships and seeing others, college should be easier on a relationship than starting out in the real world. Most college students only had to worry about getting good grades. There were not the concerns of how to get the promotions. When would the next household repair needed to be done? Where to find the time to maintain the household, work, and social commitments? The lady in love made excuses of why her man put the frat in front of their relationship, and Sarah was becoming more enlightened on why her premonition was true. It would help him with connections in the business world that he made his commitments to his fraternity before they were a couple. Those boys were his brothers. And lastly, college was the time to have fun. The lady figuring out the truth, which she should have already known, felt bad that she did recognize how much the gourd put himself before the relationship. James saw all those things happen, but did not take much notice in them, for Lexi was happy. Sarah was still happy for Lexi and supported her, but knew that the gourd was not the type of person she wanted to have any kind of meaningful friendship with. Lexi then said, "I am looking forward to when the gourd and I will be able to spend more time together just as a couple. You spend almost all weekend with him already, dear." "Oh, Sarah, Friday night we end the night together, and Saturday he is just so busy with the frat all day." "That is fine because I do some of the chores for us, then the gym and rehearsal. Saturday night is either at the frat or on a group date with a couple of his brothers and their girlfriends. I do spend time with him, but not enough quality time." "Then tell him about it, dear. He should be able to work out making sure you get what you need in the relationship also." Lexi got a little defensive after hearing that sound advice. "Sarah, I do get what I need out of the relationship, his love. I do want more alone time with him other than our time together in the bedroom, but he is busy right now." "Lexi, I am sorry. That came out wrong. All I'm saying is that you two should be able to find quality time, which is only you and him." "Sarah, it is fine. I took what you said wrong. Like the gourd says, we will have enough time, just us two, when we are out of college and married." The lady who was having her first girl-to-girl talk about relationships face started to gleam. Lexi's statement to her meant that those two were engaged. Sarah did feel a little guilty, even with most of her happiness being for her friend, finding the man she wanted to spend the rest of her life with. A little part of her started to dream about being a bridesmaid. Sarah knew it was only a dream, for even if she came to be, and James was no more, the lady who was doomed to always be a wedding guest and never a bridesmaid knew her being in the wedding party would distract from the ceremony. Sarah was shaking a little from being overjoyed for her as she got up to hug the future bride. You did not say that Gordon proposed. Do you have a ring, and can I see it? I am so happy for you two. If it is a secret, don't worry, I will not tell anyone. It is safe with me until you two are ready to announce. I wish I could be around to help you celebrate it." Lexi was so touched at how genuinely happy Sarah was for her. She knew right then Sarah was more than just an act. The friend who was getting to know Sarah better thought that James just was a little more in touch with his emotions than he let others know. She hoped that this side of James would not go back into the shadows after his weekend as Sarah. "Sarah, calm down. You are acting just like your twin." No, the gourd did not pop the question yet, but he has been hinting at it. "I think it will be at their winter wonderland ball. He said that we would have something important to talk about and also a question to ask there. Lastly, you will be around when we get married. Sarah's joy was lessened then, for even with gaining more freedom, she did not know exactly what her future held. Sarah thought that she might just be watching the wedding from her own prison. Oh, James will be. Not me. Lexi laughed. Dear, you are taking becoming Sarah very seriously, but you are James. Lexi did not notice that Sarah's response was her actually correcting her. I know James is me. Speaking of my buff, I hope her date is going great. Lexi was touched again by Sarah's response. The lady whose heart would be broken if she got what she hoped for honestly wanted Kara to be having a great time. Don't worry, she is miserable. I know she wants to be with you. Hearing that pronoun, you gave Sarah hope that maybe Kara could fall in love with another woman. Lexi, it is fine if she is having a great time. I want what is best for her. After all, she is my best friend. Now enough about her love life and yours. Tell me all about how the rehearsals for Grease are going. I am looking forward to seeing you in it. Sarah was looking forward to going to that classic musical, and not only to hear her friend's angelic voice. Sarah had a soft spot in her heart for the fashion from the 50s. Plus, it would be nice to go out with friends doing something different. While on his way up to Lexi's apartment, the Gord went into boyfriend mode. The Gord shows Lexi his good side. That was why Lexi was so understanding about never being his top priority. The Gord would treat her like she deserved if he knew how much him taking her for granted was weakening their relationship. In fact, if he knew how Lexi felt, that would be a wake-up call for the Gord and help him to become mature. Before the Gord opened the door, he called his love and asked her what she was doing. Lexi did not want to tell him about Sarah, so she told him, I am just at home relaxing. Gord smiled and said, Good, I am coming over because I want to spend some time with you. Lexi knew that she could not talk him out of it, so told him she was looking forward to seeing him. As soon as she hung up the phone, Lexi said, Sarah, sorry, but you need to change and leave. The Gord is on his way over. I know he would not take no for an answer when I said I was here alone. There was no way I could tell him about you. You know he is like most males and would not understand. Sarah started to panic and said, I understand and do not worry. I am becoming a pro at getting the makeup off. I will be out of here within 15 minutes. As Sarah was making her way to the hallway, the door opened and it was the Gord. He was a little shocked to see another lady there. Lexi said she was alone. He took a good look to see who this stranger was, and it dawned on him it was James. Being a little drunk and not being able to dish out any real abuse to the pledges, the Gord said in a condescending voice, Oh, I see what your plans were, hanging out with your girlfriend Jamie. No wonder you turned down becoming my brother. You'd much rather have been a sorority sister. The Gord and James did get along, but Gordon did resent his friend a little. He took it personally that James turned down his invite to join Alpha Sigma, Sigma Sigma. The Gord was joking and meant no harm, but when one's jokes were demeaning to another, they were harmful. Even if they were hurtful, it did not matter to the Gord, for he had to take it from others to be a frat member, so others had to take it from him to be his friend. James declining to join was nothing personal. James just was not into being in such a social structure. He did not want others to be able to dictate to him his social schedule. He also felt that most people in a frat were followers, and he did not enjoy the company of them. Lexi did not like how her man put Sarah down and became fearful that the situation would escalate. Lexi saw how Sarah would stand up to Lilith's mocking, and those two were closer friends. She let out some nervous laughter. Sarah did not notice that the laughter was not as robust as laughter from amusement and took it wrong. Gordon, I turned down being in your frat because unlike you, I do not have to buy my friends. I do not need to be in a group to have my identity. If wearing a dress means you want to be a sorority sister, then you do also. Remember, You were a serving wench while you were pledging. That was different. I did that to show unity with my brothers. It was a joke to make me look silly. You are doing this for you to enjoy looking silly. I'm doing this for class. Yeah, how to be the woman you are. Lexi let out some more nervous laughter. Sarah could not believe that inefficient put-down invoked her friend to laugh at her. Sarah went to the bathroom to get out of the makeup and said, "Really? Lexi, you found what Gord said is funny? Don't worry, I will be out of here in 15 minutes and you two can make as many lame comments about my project as you want." Lexi was mad at the Gord. "Honey, you should not have said those things to our friend." "Lexi, you know I was only joking. It is not my fault that Jamie got her panties in a bunch. Still, you should have quit when you saw that and apologized. What you said could have easily been taken how James, took it. It gets better. James has a female name for this project. Come on, quit standing up for that sissy. It does not matter how I meant he could have taken it. It matters how it was meant. He needs to grow some thicker skin if he is going to wear a dress and be seen by a real man like me. Yeah, James has a female name for this project, so what? He wanted to do a project which was different from his women's study class project and had the courage to do it right. I know you did not mean anything by it, but James does not. Those comments you made weren't funny because they are mean-spirited. You better apologize to James when he comes out, or you will be leaving right behind him." The Gord did not like that Lexi was laying down the law, but knew better than to not follow her simple demand. James came out hurt, believing his friend Lexi laughed at who he really was, and mad that the Gord thought he could demean him for being that person. "Hey James, I am sorry if you were hurt and that you do not appreciate humor. You should lighten up. It was just a joke." James could never stand hearing anyone give the apology. It took away all the blame from the person giving and placed it on the person who was wronged. It was given by people who could never admit that they did anything wrong and wanted to treat others however they wanted to. "Gordon, I am sorry that you have such low self-esteem that you think it is funny to put other people down. I'm sorry you are so insecure you have to mock anything which you think is different. I am sorry that you have to buy your friends. Lastly, I am sorry that you think you put your friends in front of the great woman you have." Hearing the Gord trying to not be responsible for the results of his bad joke, and James making sure her boyfriend knew he was not going to help the Gord save face, made Lexi give out another burst of nervous laughter. She knew that James took it wrong again. "Wait, James. Stay. We need to talk. Just calm down. It was a joke. The Gord was just playing around. You two can talk this out." James was too stubborn to want to talk about it. He was not going to back down. "Lexi, I am out of here. See you Friday. I'll call you tomorrow. We need to talk to James." As the person who was going to stick with his principles left, he said, "See you on Friday, Lexi."